Hi, Dad. Hi, Gwendolyn. We don't get together that often, so I thought that I'd give you a chance to tell us what's been going on for the last year. Let's start with, how's Carmel?
No, you're not turning this into the police, are you? The authorities won't have access to this?
Oh, if they know how to use YouTube, which is doubtful, they'll have access.
Oh, YouTubing.
Oh my.
We could be YouTubed.
We could be UTEB.
You could.
UTEB.
So, Carmel, tell us, how's it been this year?
Well, I can only relate to very recently. The big news recently for us is that we've said goodbye to our lawn.
Oh,
We had it
wow.
removed. It was a question of whether the Gophers would get it first before we officially took it from them. But given the water has become liquid gold, and the Gophers were going at it from the other end, we foiled them.
And you had a pretty sizable yard.
Yes, there was quite a bit of grass out there.
So what have you replaced it with? I know you also had quite a bit of crops growing.
Yes, we were replacing it with a different kind of grass. These are grass.
Sedges and
Yeah.
carrots.
When you say grass, I thought maybe some medicinal marijuana plants, right?
Oh
That's
no.
our past.
The least-
Our past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think at least one of you being in your 70s, starting a grow operation at this stage of the game is maybe a little
A little risky.
fruitless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could lose your bar license. I mean, it's a crime of moral turpitude.
I last February, when it came time to pay my bar dues, I said I'll go inactive, and I don't have to pay any bar dues, and I can't practice law.
Well, you've been practicing for 50 years, and at some point practice didn't make perfect.
Never made perfect, but
How do you feel about that?
I actually feel good. It actually was an assist because every so often an email will come in about can you help us with this or that, and now I can just say no, I'm not authorized to do that anymore, not licensed.
Gwendolyn, did Drew have a hard time letting go?
No, I think sometimes you don't know you're working up to something until you arrive there. And I think we have been so building everything else in our lives that by the time we let go of work, which I thought would be really hard for him, he was really ready. So he's transferred all the intensity to the garden. I will sit in our little guest house office and look out and I'll see the top of a tree moving, and I'm assuming it's not walking of its own accord. So he's under it, moving it from one location
Wow.
to another and putting the grass.
Now, are you growing any edible
No,
stuff? No.
no,
No carrots.
no carrots. No, carrots come from stores,
Right. Just like fish.
Somebody else
and they're
did
all
hard work.
cleaned and everything. That's right, like
Yeah.
fish.
And we buy tofu in nice, clean little plastic packages, so we don't have to think of all the soybeans that were sacrificed.
Exactly.
right.
And
To
all the
make that
water
The
dough.
sound of
that goes into
soybeans screaming.
Hear them
is just
screaming.
Death
So,
of the
and we've
soybean.
been taking advantage of things that go on in our community. Gwendolyn took a meditation class last spring that went through all of the different forms, Hindu and Buddhist and Christian.
And then
so
we
we're-
practice it. It was taught by a philosophy professor at Monterey Peninsula College, and each week he would discuss what the traditions were and how that particular meditative tradition had developed, and then we'd practice it for 2 20-minute sessions, and then the next week we'd go on to another one. And a group of about 12 of us were so interested in the meditation that we now meet once a month at our house to keep it
Nice.
going.
12 people.
Yeah, out of, I think, a class of about 30.
Do you rotate the various practices, or do you just stick to
No,
one?
each week we just try a different. We'll have different spiritual CDs that we listen to. We
Okay.
just finished Eckhart Tolle, listening to him, and then there's a wonderful retired nun who lives in our building here, and she kind of adopted us. And we'll come back, and she'll have poems by Rumi or other spiritual things for us. And she had a CD on Thomas Merton, which was fabulous, about his doubts and how he kind of migrated into Buddhism by the end of his life.
Interesting.
And so I bought that tape online because I so liked it, or the CD rather, showing my age. And we watched that at the last session. And then the same teacher is teaching a book or a class on the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying in February, so we'll be in that one, which is fun. So it's a whole new group of folks we've fallen in with. There are lots of retired professors on the Monterey Peninsula who enjoy keeping their hand in teaching, and so they have for older adults. All the classes are free, so we go to all those.
Of course, no one would ever have thought of referring to either of you as older adults.
I know, isn't that insulting? Maybe they do it so they can keep the class size down.
That might be it.
But if you live in Monterey and you don't golf, you have to find others of your ilk with whom you can hang.
Yeah.
And we find that that's it.
So you guys notice that I guess we can't call them Baby Drew anymore, but Drew and Steven, Josh's and Elizabeth's kids, still a little young, might not remember everything. So if 20 years from now they're looking at YouTube and seeing this video, start with you, Dad. What would you like to say to them?
Forgive yourself for everything you've done in the last 20 years. And just take it easy and live in the day. Be nice to your fellow travelers.
Find out who you are and then be it. Like watching Drew sit there and draw yesterday. I mean, the boy has talent. And in the old days, school would have taken that and decided that he should learn more about music rather than letting him do the art thing that she's got. So find your bliss and roll around in it.
Yeah,
Right.
the bliss part I have a little trouble with.
You're blissful.
I am blissful, but that would be about it. And be nice to your brother.
Be very, very nice to your grandparents and step-grandparents.
There you go. If you're drooling right now, wipe it up. Interesting thing, Dad. Somebody asked me not too long ago where I got my work ethic, and I said I think it must have been from my father, because I seem to recall, and please tell me if this is correct or not, I don't know if you and I have ever really talked about it, that you went off every day. I believe you usually left at 8:03 to make a 20-minute drive to catch the 8:16 train. Do that math. Down the windy Crystal Springs Road, and you came back, and I didn't really sense that you found a ton of fulfillment and happiness and engagement in that job, but you did it because it was your job, and you had 4 kids and a family to support and that kind of stuff, and you found your engagement and happiness outside of your work, and you did your work because that's what you were supposed to do. Certainly back in the 60s, that was what was expected. Did I have a right perception of that?
Pretty much. Certainly, if you limit work to what I was doing with most of my time, I was doing it to make money, and it was a pretty good way to do it on an hourly basis, and some of it was sort of technically fun. I used to say that practicing law would be a good way to make a living if you didn't have to have clients. It's the dealing with the people that, and if you didn't have clients, you didn't have to have employees. And we pretty much worked it around to doing it that way. So after, I'd say it could be after the making money for the family was not the driving force. I would say I worked more because I really liked what I was working toward, and it was important to be able to continue to pay the bills, but it became more important to be doing what I was doing.
Was that after the law firm and when you're on to capital formation and DFDPO, etc.?
Yes, yes, yeah. And after, I would say, after I made a lot of changes in my life, one of which was Gwendolyn.
So it's interesting because you might have been ahead of your time in that way, because that not even baby boomer. If I'm a baby boomer, you're a World War II generation. That particular work ethic is largely gone, and these days kids absolutely believe that they are 100% entitled to have a job that is engaging and rewarding and pays really well and means a lot of stuff. And the concept of doing something, even briefly, that you don't like out of necessity is fairly alien to a lot of the whatever we're calling the Gen Y.
And watching Drew, I think what he borrowed from the boomers, which came after him, was wanting to change the world with what he did. So it was not just that he loved it, but he really believed that his way of helping companies grow and people acquire pieces of companies could change the whole capital structure. And so it wasn't just like, it now seems that so many people who can just go for the jobs with maximum money, and that was, I don't think we would have wanted a job where we had to have little begging bowls on the street. But the idea of really making a difference, I've watched, I think, be his primary motivation. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's right. But that, find what you love and then figure out a way to make a living at it, I think is still right. When I graduated from law school, I thought practicing law was going to be entertaining and exciting, and I tried every part of it, and it wasn't. So it kind of became for a while that making money was about, without having to work too hard, was the major motivation. But then that also changed, and I was able to take the experiences I'd had and turn it into something that I did feel good about doing.
All right, so is there anything else you guys want to say to the infinite future?
Keep unfolding, please. Do whatever you have to do to keep the world from closing in on itself.
Dad?
Find a higher power.
Can you top that word of wisdom, or at least attempt to match it?
No, I could not. I think following what you and Victoria have done, and Gwendolyn and I have done, and going through life with a mate and being dedicated to doing it that way makes it a big difference for the better.
And a God guiding the two of you.
Right.
Beautiful. Thank you. Say hi. Say bye.
Bye,
Bye.
future. Bye, future.